Okay. It's a good time to know nothing about foreign policy. Well, not nothing, but... Classic. If Kamala wins, only death and destruction will await because she is the candidate. Yeah. Hi. Beautiful. Where is the speech with Trump? Where is that at? I have not seen it yet. Did he talk today? Trump, Iran. He said he was talking at 10 p.m., right? CBS? Oh, he's talking right now. Okay. All right, let's see it. If we can load.
Of that being,
let's go back here. Yeah, so Trump bombed Iran. Iran's a big country. It's not like Iraq or Afghanistan going after non-state actors. Iran controls a lot about shipping, about oil. By the way, fill up your gas tank. If you can fill up your gas tank, do it tonight. Gas prices are probably going to shoot up, probably 50 cents to $1, I assume. So yeah, let's see what Trump says.
On 3 key Iranian sites, he called the strikes successful. In an address to the nation from the White House, Mr. Trump said Iran's nuclear program is now decimated. He called for peace in the region, but did not close the door to more U.S. military action. Here are the president's remarks in full.
Yo, that's crazy. You can't bomb a country, like an actual country, and then say, okay, bro, it's time for peace now. I know I just bombed you, but it's time for peace. Trump, during negotiations, lied about negotiating and tried assassinating the people that were negotiating on the Iranian side. So, like, when Trump says he's looking for peace and looking for some type of resolution, he's lying for propaganda purposes. Trump is doing everything to push for more war globally. And you know, obviously Iran, but also globally. This is Iran. It's a country of 90-something million people. I know Ted Cruz did not know that, but this is a complicated situation. This shit can go sideways fast.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was
they only built this enterprise because Trump left the Iranian nuclear deal that Obama made, and Obama got the entire world to reinforce. By the way, Trump left that, and that's the only reason Iran's nuclear facilities were rebuilt, okay, at all.
Destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a...
What was that word Trump just said, bro?
Objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and...
Huh? Oh, enrichment. Nuclear enrichment. Okay. The nuclear enrichment.
A stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully...
That's not true, bro. There's no way their facilities have been obliterated. I guarantee you they're not obliterated. Now, they can say that because Americans don't know these locations, but like Fordow, from what I've seen, the missiles they dropped on like Fordow, there's no way at all they would have been able to penetrate enough to destroy the nuclear programs. Now, can they slow it? I mean, sure, I guess. But again, when we talk about the intel of that, there's actually, they're trying to get nuclear weapons. America did not have that intel. The Mossad did have that intel from Israel. But Trump sided with the Israeli intelligence over the American intelligence for this. He called his own DNI, his own director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. He called her wrong. He said she was wrong. But now Tulsi Gabbard's on her knees with the white flag up. Tulsi Gabbard is now pro-regime change war. I thought she was principled, guys. I thought Tulsi Gabbard was so principled. Oh,
of the Middle East must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our...
There's the one that matters. Okay. Trump posted a picture of an American flag. Beautiful. Iran, there's this one shipping port and shipping lane. I forget what it's called. It's something straight in Iran. I'm pretty sure they shut it down tonight. I think they shut it down. So essentially, like I said before, oil prices are going to be bad. Gas prices are going to be bad. If you saw a spike a few days ago by like 30 or 40 cents, that was a result of Israel striking Iran. So let's do like a little game in chat. How much do you guys think gas is going to be up tomorrow? How much more expensive do you think gas is going to be tomorrow, guys?
Our people blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general,
Do you want more?
Qasem Soleimani.
You want more people to die? Trump, now is the time for peace. U.S. strikes Iranian nuclear sites, bro. Also, by the way, illegal war, illegal strikes, no approval from Congress. There's no extension of any resolutions from going into Iraq and Afghanistan to extend to Iran. So this is illegal. No authority given by Congress, and Congress decides when we declare war. And this is a declaration of war. If this is not declaring war, I don't know what is.
Decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before.
Dude, whenever he talks about Netanyahu or Putin, he talks like they're best friends, like they are brothers, like they share a common ancestry, and a common like club, a big social club. They are they are literally just like they love the power and the authoritarianism they can share over their people. That's why Trump adores Netanyahu and Putin so much. He wants to be like them. The fact Trump is talking right now, saying, "Oh, me and him," talking like they're Mario and Luigi, bro. Like it just, oh.
And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli
threat to Israel. We eliminated a threat to Israel. Trump is not even pretending like this is about protecting America or Americans, because this is going to put more Americans in danger. Trump is just out here saying, we are protecting Israel, word for word. All right, no conspiracy stuff. I don't care about AIPAC. AIPAC's not even that interesting. I care more about the Judeo-Christian fundamentalist cult members in America driving this war, including Donald Trump and his regime, obviously. But also, like, when it comes to politics and everything, when Trump just says we are defending Israel, so it's illegal. He did not ask Congress to do this strike. He says he's doing it to help Israel alone, to just help Israel, not for any American interests. He has not made one appeal at all to why this is good for America or Americans. And I know he's not actually making these plans. Someone else is. He's reading off a teleprompter someone else wrote, because Trump does not know anything about what he's talking about here. But he's just openly saying it. We are doing this for Israel. We are doing this for my friend Bibi Netanyahu. We're doing this for my friend. He wants to help his friend Putin when it comes to Ukraine. It is interesting, though, with Iran. I know Putin has worked with, Russia has worked with Iran and other state sponsors of terrorism and other terrorist groups. So I wonder what that relationship is like. I'm assuming that Putin does not want Trump to crack down on him when it comes to Ukraine. So as long as Trump lets Putin do what he wants to do with Ukraine, then Putin can't really complain that much about Iran being destabilized. So I'm sure there's some way Russia is going to benefit. But by the way, China is benefiting from the Trump president. Trump is, China's eating right now because of the Trump presidency. They want a trade war without even doing anything. Right now, the entire world, the European Union is weakened, America's weakened, every other country in the world is weakened, and China's just sitting there rising. They have more global influence now than ever before. When it comes to opinion polling, people view China better than they view America now as a result of Trump. China is eating, bro. They're eating, and they help fund Russia. They're tied to Iran. They're tied to North Korea. Like, they are eating right now, bro. China is eating, and they are planning to invade Taiwan. I guarantee you. We know that's happening. When I said I guarantee you, I mean, I assume it's going to happen by the end of 2026. I'm not sure what the timeline is going to be before the end of the Trump presidency for sure, because he's so weak and feckless. But
military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope.
Trump just said he will not roll out any further action.
Hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of...
Someone said in chat, Trump is listening to the generals. Wait, is Israel a general? Is Netanyahu a general now? I didn't know Netanyahu was sworn in as a general.
Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight,
when it comes to destabilizing regions and when it comes to radicalizing people, you can destabilize Iraq, Afghanistan. You can destabilize Syria, Libya without having as much of a global repercussion as you can get if you destabilize Iran. Like the size of Iran, the connections Iran has, the way Iran is tied to the global oil markets, Iran's capacity in general with technology, with cyber warfare, with their military is much, much higher than, like, they're an actual state, they're a country. This is playing with, like, we're not going to have World War III, okay? I don't want to fearmonger about that. But this is an action that can actually trigger a world global event, okay? This can actually trigger a much larger conflict that can spiral out of control very quickly, okay? I'm not saying it's going to be a world war, but it's a lot bigger than just going after Al-Qaeda, okay?
tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
How is peace going to come quickly when you assassinated all the negotiators from Iran? Like, Trump is making a scenario where war is necessary. Trump has killed diplomacy. He has killed any chance for diplomacy or any chance for reason in this conflict. He has destroyed any chance for controlled, like a controlled conflict or a controlled peace. There is no option other than war, other than violence. All right, Iran, a state sponsor of terrorism. Like, what happens when their leadership is like knocked out? What happens when that, like, things don't get better?
Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much.
Bro, the saying, I love you, God, when Trump knows nothing about religion, has never practiced religion, that is a method to make sure the evangelical, Judeo-Christian Zionists in America get the message loud and clear. We are engaging in the holy war. Okay, that's a little bit hyperbolic, but that's intentional, very smart by them. And George Bush used religion to justify Iraq and Afghanistan as well. He did use religion as justification many times. That's really scary to hear. I do not want our president deciding to bomb countries based off of that, you know, that and the people behind Trump. I don't know, dude. That's kind of chilling to hear him say that. And Trump just put up on Twitter, any retaliation by Iran against the U.S. Of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. So, like, there will be some type of response. Any retaliation. What can retaliation mean? If Iran cuts off oil supply or cuts off shipping lanes, okay, for oil, if they cut off total production, if they do something economic, if they do cyber warfare, is that all going to count under retaliation? And force far greater than what happened tonight. Trump said about, you know, the people who were flying the planes tonight, our service members, he hopes he doesn't need their services again. But this is setting up a scenario, like I said. It's a scenario where there is no way to go but conflict. There is no way to go but conflict if you're talking like this, and you're setting the precedent to get us into a full-on endless war. Because, like I said, it's very complicated. This is not a 1, 2, 3 thing. That's kind of crazy, bro.
Thank you.
Let's bring in CBS News Middle East reporter Courtney Keeley joining us on the phone right now. Courtney, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, President Trump said 3 nuclear.
Please drop a like, hit subscribe. I'll take some calls if you want me to. I'm streaming right now. This will be posted to YouTube. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. I'll put a poll up in chat really quick about Iran. Do you want the U.S. to keep on bombing Iran? Do you want war with Iran? I want to know what the chat thinks.
Nuclear sites were attacked. What do you
actually? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say in chat. The poll is gonna be: Are you happy? Are you happy with Trump's strikes in Iran tonight? Okay.
What do you take of what his comments were this evening?
Well, he said the bully of the Middle East must now talk peace, and that is not necessarily what the regime will do. I am hearing that there appears to be rising fears of retaliation by the Iranian regime, that people are starting to talk about fears of possible jail or execution, which has happened before under this regime many times. But we talked, you and I, about Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan.
Someone said with Iran, you said love Iran. No, Iran's bad. We do not like Iran. We do not like Iran, okay? Iran is our enemy, okay? Any freedom-loving person should hate Iran. All right, this is all about geopolitics and about global stability, and about what the best next course of action is. We hate Iran, all right? We hate Iran. This is just the wrong way to deal with them.
Just as that news
and it's
was
illegal
breaking,
and
I want to bring you some more information with more clarity. One source told me that they were hearing bombings in Tehran proper. That has been clarified to me that Fordo is only 90 miles southwest or a 2-hour drive from Tehran, and the concussive effect of those explosions at Natanz reverberating and bouncing off the mountains could have actually made someone feel like it was happening right next to them in Tehran. There might have been anti-artillery.
Another post from Iran and Trump. So Iran state TV, every American citizen or military in the region is now a target. Trump said this was an amazing success tonight. And again, like I said, when Trump says we're going to have any type of force necessary if Iran retaliates in any way, he's setting up a scenario in which we are getting into the war fully into the war. Because Iran's going to respond in some way. They're going to respond economically, cyber warfare, actual military engagement, or they sponsor a lot of terrorism. So it can happen in America. It can happen to an American military base. It can happen to a reporter somewhere. It can happen in any number of ways. But this is just giving justification for Israel and America to launch full force into this war with a country of 90 million plus people, which has global implications. And, you know, another thing, like I said before, get your gas tank full. Get your gas tank full. If you can go tonight before the prices jump up, go fill up your tank. If you have a couple cans, you might want to. But Trump talking like this was an amazing success. We're 5 months into the presidency, exactly 5 months. It took Trump 5 months to get us into another Middle Eastern war. It took the peace candidate 5 damn months to get us back into the Middle East. Okay? And they were going after Biden for getting us out. Now Trump's getting us back in. It's insane. The way Trump has failed on every level possible, and he still has such a big support base, it's cult activity. It's straight cult activity. And that's extremely, extremely, extremely scary. I'm hoping the podcast turned against him. So like Theo Vaughn, I know Joe Rogan's a baby cuck, a little cuck. Yeah, Joe Rogan's not going to do shit. Joe Rogan's a pathetic piece of shit. He really is. But hopefully some of these podcasts that are actually like decent people that supported Trump speak out against this, because this is insane. It's illegal. It's not approved by Congress. Everything about this is terrible. Okay, I want to see what these
artillery aircraft, but the concussive effect.
So Fordo is the big base where they have a big mountain or some shit. It's like underground. It's really hard to strike. And like Israel does not have the weapons necessary. Israel does not have the weapons to go after these targets necessarily. But America does. Israel needs America to do it, though.
Bombings was what people would have been hearing in Tehran, not any other airstrikes. There have no other airstrikes been reported except the U.S. airstrikes on the 3 nuclear power plants, Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. And what President Trump's saying that Iran has to negotiate, really, talk peace, which is what he's wanted. The Ayatollah had always made clear to some experts that I've spoken to, the red line would have been no nuclear enrichment.
Yeah, but nuclear enrichment. So, like, if they bomb power stations, like nuclear power stations, for example, where there's enrichment being done for civilian use, you would need to prove, our intelligence would need to prove that, number one, they have the enrichment necessary for a weapon, which we don't have proof of that. We would need to know that they have the ability to actually use that in a weapon, and then the capability to actually do strikes with those said weapons, like calculated direct strikes with those weapons. So, like, America, our intelligence, again, has said none of that. We have said none of that. But Israeli intelligence did say they are moving towards weapons, which we do not have proof of. So Trump said he trusts Israel. He trusts Israel intelligence over American intelligence, essentially.
Before they even got to that conversation, before Steve Witkoff was able to have that conversation with the Iranian foreign minister, Israel launched the first salvo of these attacks a week ago Wednesday. And now for the...
How do I know what our intelligence knows? Because every single person who works in our intelligence agency, when talking to Congress, confirmed that they have no reports of this. Okay, they said we have no reports of this. There was a huge fight between Tulsi Gabbard and the Trump faithful. Trump himself has talked openly about these things. I know you can't go off of what words Trump says because he's a baby cuck, and baby cucks can't be like, you can't take them for their words because they're too like young and impressionable. And Trump is a 79-year-old child, or whatever he is. So you can't really trust his actual words because he says things like Trump supporters always say. I don't know, dude. GG's. I'll take some calls, I guess. I don't want to talk about... Well... Okay, my phone line's open again if you want to call in. Let's see, what else do we know?
Let's go right to our NBC News Pentagon correspondent, Courtney Kuby. Courtney, good evening. On the president's social media post, he says that the United States bombed these 3...
Call from...
Hello, what's up?
Hey, am I on?
Yep, you're live.
Nice. I was scrolling and I saw the Trump loves wars, and so I disagree with it. So I figured we'd have a discussion about that. I'll just start it off. If he really liked wars, how come there were so many meetings that were taking place before the Israeli attacks to avoid the whole conflict to begin with?
So like in between meetings, Trump was trying to assassinate the same people that were negotiating from the Iranian side. So there's a good chance Israeli agents claimed that Trump was doing that to lower the guard of Iran. And that's why the strike Israel did was able to get so many of Iran's military leaders, is because they were not expecting an attack, because they had another like meeting scheduled a few days after that happened. They were at home. They were not taking any they were not taking any precautions to keep themselves safe. So that's what I've heard on the news and the interwebs. But yeah, they were fake negotiations, and like Trump can keep on saying he wants peace, but if he keeps on bombing in between asking for peace and he tries assassinating, I think there's no other way to show you're being bad faith in your negotiations. There's no better way to show you're being bad faith other than like trying to kill the people you're negotiating with. So
yeah, I mean, well, at first, I mean, I think neither of us know that for sure. I mean, I'm sure you heard that somewhere, but I mean, who knows really what the truth is there? But I'm not.
I can tell you one verified thing really quick. So after Israel launched their attack and Trump said they still want to negotiate, there were other negotiators, and we tried assassinating the other negotiator after the Israel attack just a week ago. So that is it is confirmed that we were negotiating in bad faith, and that Trump was never really considering diplomacy.
But I mean, look, I'm not going to act like I'm not going to say that you're wrong because I don't know. But I think the thing that's important, though, is the demand from the United States during the negotiations were to decommission the entire nuclear program. And obviously Iran is, saying, I don't think they're necessarily saying like, oh no, we're going to continue trying to make a bomb. It was, no, we're not going to shut down our nuclear program for civilian use. But, so are we on the same page there? Because Iran pretty much said, no, we're not going to discontinue the program. But if they did, I believe that would end in a peaceful resolution. But I think it became clear to both Israel and the United States that Iran was never going to agree to shut down the entire nuclear program. And so that's why I believe the attack happened. Do we agree on that?
So regardless, in order to know they would abide by that, we would need inspectors. And like the Obama nuclear deal was pretty impressive because it did have inspectors, and the percent that they were allowed to enrich the nuclear energy essentially, that was way too low to use for any weapons. It was limited at a very low percent. So like when Trump says like get rid of it completely, I don't think that would have been necessary. But I also don't. I mean, I don't disagree they were asking that, but I also don't think that was a good faith conversation by them.
But, I'm not super familiar with the exact agreement that we had under the Obama administration, but there are points that's been made from, the opposing side where it wasn't a airtight deal, where it wasn't something that we could completely rule out the possibility of Iran pursuing a nuclear weapon. And here's where I come in.
Well, this doesn't either, right? Just really quick, this does not do that either, right? Striking them probably makes the chances even worse for terrorism.
I think shutting down their entire nuclear program would be the answer, because let me just make this point real quick is why would do we really believe that Iran is so just focused on nuclear energy when, do you really think that is what they're pursuing, and they're willing to go to war over their right to have nuclear energy? Do you think that's really their position, or do you think no, they want to be a nuclear power to be the king piece in the Middle East? I mean, that seems like a much more realistic situation. Do you disagree with that?
Well, being a state sponsor of terrorism, they got a lot of sanctions on them, being isolated from a lot of the global economy. So one big thing with the Obama deal, the nuclear deal, was like they get their sanctions removed. So one thing you can argue is that they wanted to have nukes to be, or nuclear enrichment to have as a negotiating piece for some type of other diplomatic deal. So like, I don't disagree they want that power, but the access and the way we were doing it before seemed to be working effectively. There's zero reports indicating that Obama's nuclear plan was not working. And right now, I would say that I
don't think it's a true statement. I don't think anybody particularly knows for a fact that the Obama plan was something that was sustainable and that would result in Iran never having nuclear weapons.
This does not result in them never having. The only thing that would say they will never have a nuke is if we fully occupy Iran. Like that's the only way we can say they'll never have a nuke.
No, I think keeping them from having a nuke is completely dismantling their nuclear program entirely. That's the answer.
So, like, are you saying there should be a forever war with Iran? We bomb them whenever they do anything with nukes, even if it's like for nuclear energy?
Well, I don't think they're ever doing it for nuclear energy. I think that's a fallacy. I think that's
well, the inspectors were able to see, like, we have ways to detect nuclear radiation in general, but the inspectors were able to keep a close eye on this, and like every available public report said that there was no enrichment. There were a couple of times where they were like looking at numbers and they thought it was off, but every time Iran was very transparent, and like that's why pulling out of that deal was such a big thing, is because like we had the entire world backing up this the JCP, what is it again? The JCPOA, I think it was, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. But yeah, having that channel open was a really big deal at the time because we had the backing of the entire world. And I'm just saying right now, like what Trump is doing, we don't have evidence they were close to a nuclear bomb at all. Okay, we don't have evidence they were close to being able to.
Know that. I don't think you and
Israel
I know
says
that.
we were, but everything that our intelligence said, at least publicly, said we were not.
Exactly.
And like, but right now the thing is, so destabilizing the area, what I'm saying is it can lead to other wars, other terroristic activity. And now Trump is saying if there's any retaliation at all, we are going to unleash hell upon Iran, essentially. So that seems like a very big
nuclear program. Iran didn't need it. I mean, I think everybody knows that they're not pursuing nuclear energy for civilian use. They don't need it. It doesn't make any sense. I think everybody understands that they aspire to have a nuclear weapon. And look, maybe the deal that they had under the Obama administration, it would take them longer because of all the inspections they would have to comply with and all of that. But I highly doubt that they didn't have a plan and a path towards obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Well, okay, so I would refer to like the people that were actually there on the ground in Iran analyzing this. So the inspectors that were going as part of the nuclear deal. So I would just refer to them and refer to what they saw and what they analyzed. And like they can have nuclear energy for wanting to use nuclear energy. They could use it as a national symbol for like just having that and being able to tell their civilians they have nuclear power in general. It is a technology that's pretty effective.
I would just say that Iran does not care about that. He does not care about
that's your opinion. That's your opinion. I'm just saying what we knew from our experts. What Trump's doing right now has a chance to result in a very big conflict. Like if we think that changing, because like the people pushing forward with Trump's like regime right now, okay, these people want regime change in Iran, and that is a huge endeavor. Okay, so destabilizing Iraq and Afghanistan is not 1/10 of what destabilizing Iran would be. So that's the big danger here.
Regime change.
Literally,
if they dismantled their nuclear program today, this whole thing would be over and the regime would stay
Netanyahu, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, all these different politicians have called for regime change in Iran. They have not fully committed yet, but they are pushing for that. And Netanyahu definitely wants regime change in Iran. He 100% wants that. And Trump tonight said we are defending Israel.
Nuclear program today, there would be peace in Iran.
You are not responding to the points I'm making. Okay, we're talking about the real world. We could talk about like, okay, if I could shit wings out my ass and fly, I could fly too. I can't shit wings out my ass, so I can't fly. I'm talking about what we know, what we can do.
I'm answering your point by saying they're not calling for regime change because if they were, that wouldn't be the case. If they stop it's all about the nuclear program.
I'm saying the American officials are calling for this. I don't care about Iran. I'm saying what the American officials want, and they're backed by Trump said tonight in his statement the thing about like we love you, God, we love you, God. They are Judeo-Christian Zionists. Okay, so they do want to have the area to be like they do want regime change.
It's a nuclear issue. It's all about the nuclear program. That's all it's about.
Okay.
Everything else is just more. I mean, and my whole point is, it's hard to dispute this. If you're actually making the case that if Iran said, okay, no more nuclear program, if you believe that the United States would continue to bomb the country, then that's your opinion. I disagree with.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's better ways to operate than what we're doing right now. Okay,
it's about the nuclear program.
Because if they will not give it up, there's other ways to resolve it than doing a full-on bombing campaign and making America join another endless war. There's better ways to resolve it.
What are the other ways to resolve it?
The nuclear deal, by every account, was working. We have no evidence to say it was not working. Their enrichment levels maintained at 3%. It maintained at around 3%. Yeah. They need enrichment at like 80% to have any chance of nuclear weapons.
And they were.
That is true.
I think
every single analysis said it was working. Trump left it for no actual they left it for no actual reason. Israel and AIPAC, they are the ones that lobbied America to get out of the deal. They never wanted the deal to begin with. They've always wanted to bomb Iran and have regime changed. Like Israel has wanted that for a long time.
I think that Israel had reasons that we probably aren't aware of, where they feared Iran eventually obtaining a nuclear weapon.
They've had fears the past 30 years, though, right?
That doesn't negate the problem. Doesn't mean that. Do you believe that Iran wasn't trying to obtain a weapon?
Yes, I already said that they want to develop nuclear plans, and they want to use that as a negotiating piece if they have to get rid of them.
Negotiating peace with nuclear plants? How is that a negotiating peace if you don't have weapons?
Because if they have a capacity for nuclear energy in general and they can get fear from people, then they could have things like the nuclear deal that removes sanctions from them, and they can do better integration with the global economy. They can use it for a plethora, for many different ways if they have the ability to do that.
Why use the threat of a nuclear weapon as a negotiating piece as opposed to just laying down
because it would keep your country safe. You either want treaties backed by international treaties, you want some capacity. And we're seeing right now with Ukraine, for example, why countries don't want to give up nuclear capacity at all. They're not going to fully give up their nukes. Right now we are letting Russia just tear apart Ukrainian civilians constantly when we could be saving them for the price of a couple large pizzas. And no country's going to give up nukes when we're doing that shit. And no country's going to negotiate with us when we're killing. If we're going to be killing the other country's negotiators, if we're going to be killing the other country, if we're going to assassinate the other country's negotiators while negotiating, they're not going to take our negotiations seriously, right? Like,
I don't think they were taking it seriously to begin with.
Then why were they all in their homes? Why were they all chilling in their homes in compromised positions when Israel went for their attack? for their assassinations like a week ago.
Well, because it was a surprise for sure. They weren't expecting it.
Yeah, they weren't expecting it. They thought they were going to be meeting on the 63rd day. That was like day 61 or something like that when Israel did that. So they were expecting for more meetings.
But they continue. It seemed like they were, at least what has been reported, is that they were stalling to buy more time to get what they needed to make a weapon. And look, I don't know that for sure.
I'm sorry, but what you
you
just
don't
said right
either.
there is a really bad opinion. Like, there's no way to think they were even close to having a weapon at this point, bro. Like, their enrichment levels are not that high.
I don't think you know, and I don't know for sure. You can only go off what you hear. Your sources.
Yeah, from just what Trump said about Israeli intelligence is the only thing we would know about.
Know either.
I do know the reports of Israel. I know the reports of Iran. I know much more than you do because you avoid all the facts we do know. You avoid all the facts we do know about the region.
You didn't even know the name of the Strait of Hormuz earlier. You don't know that much, dude.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we have to bomb Iran. Good job. Let's get into another war. I agree. GG's. Just bomb them until they have no more nukes. Just start. Yeah. Destabilize the region. GG's.
Well, why would it destabilize the region?
I don't know. It's crazy.
I don't think any of the countries in the Middle East want Iran to have a nuke. I think all the other countries are making statements that they don't approve of it because they don't want to get on the bad side of Iran. But you think Saudi Arabia does not like this? You think that Iraq does not like this? You think Kuwait doesn't like this? They all do not want them to have a weapon because if Iran has a weapon, they all need to get weapons, and that's not good for anybody. Everybody knows
like
that's bad.
the big thing here is you have two parts of the region. Okay, you still have different political interests. So there could be one side that says like we want to push for a nuclear bomb and we want to have it to be dangerous and be able to orchestrate power, and the other side will say, well, we can participate in these arrangements. We could say, we want to have this ability so we can have the diplomatic relations and have a benefit to negotiate with the rest of the world. So like when it comes to the hardliners and fundamentalists and radicals from Iran, okay, when you bomb a country like we're doing right now, when we undermine all negotiations, all faith that we're going to negotiate in good faith at all. We already did that in 2018 when we pulled out of it. But yeah, at this point, now the hardliners, now the radicals, now if you thought the current regime or the current leaders were bad, now the like people that are 50 times worse are going to be in charge, and they're more likely to do outrageous terroristic activity than they would have before. Because before they had some type of carrot and stick where they had a benefit of engaging in the global economy, they had a benefit in engaging in diplomacy. Now their people are going to be much more turned to radicalism, to terrorism. It's going to be a much harder situation to resolve. So when we talk about destabilizing an area, I think you know the answer on how this can go wrong, right? Can you just tell me really quick? Can you tell me like what you see as the best outcome here, and also what you see as the worst outcome?
I think the best outcome would be, because so far the United States, the strikes that we've made have been targeted on facilities that are involved in their nuclear program. Again, it's the nuclear program that's the issue. We're not bombing Tehran. We're not assassinating the supreme leader or anything like that. It's to dismantle the facilities. So the best case scenario would be for these hits to happen and for Iran not to take it further. Now they can, and they have a right to retaliate and all that, and we can all pray that doesn't happen. But the best case scenario would be for them not to escalate things after the strikes that we made. And so, and then we pretty much call it when we believe that the nuclear program has officially been dismantled. Then I would say that's a success.
Okay, just really quick before you go to the worst outcome. So like Israel did strike Tehran, right? And they injured. The state-run media in Iran said, 3,000 injured and like 400 something killed. Israel said 1,000 injured and like 100 killed, I think, from what I remember, or like 30 killed or something like that. I'm guessing the number somewhere around in between, in the ballpark of both of those. Just so we're clear. So, Israel-U.S. joint operations have struck Tehran and killed a lot there. And everyone fled Tehran after Trump said a few nights ago, you need to evacuate Tehran. Their highways were completely stuck. They had no internet, no gas. It was so.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I agree with everything that Israel has done so far. I'm just talking about the best case scenario would be the strikes that we've made so far, and we as in the United States have been government military facilities that we believe that were involved in their nuclear program. And then God forbid it escalates to the point where Tehran becomes a major target. I hope that's not the case, but if we end up getting dragged into a war which I hope it doesn't happen, I mean, that would be obviously the worst case scenario. I don't think anybody wants that, but I think what could lead to that is Iran retaliating and targeting U.S. troops and U.S. bases in the area, and then then things spiral from there. So I'm just hoping it doesn't happen.
Well, they're going to retaliate. We have zero reason to believe they're not going to retaliate, right?
We'll see. I don't think anybody knows for sure. I mean, the Iran media can be saying whatever they want.
Do you consider retaliation to be economic as well? Can it be economic or cyber warfare, or do you mean militarily?
I don't think Iran really has. I mean, I think that's going to be military. They don't really have the means to do much economically. I mean, you can talk about the Strait of Hormuz, but they don't have a navy. They don't have an air force. They can't do much in terms of actually. They're not going to be able to outlift the U.S. Navy we're going to keep the strait open.
Okay. So we need to. Do we currently occupy it, or do we need to occupy it?
Occupy the strait?
Yeah, to keep it open. Or how do you think we're going to do that?
I mean, we have ships in the area. I mean, it's not Iran territory. I mean, it's a body of water where ships travel through. And so we don't necessarily have to occupy it. I mean, we have aircraft carriers in the area. We have Navy ships in the area. Iran doesn't have the military equipment to actually force a shutdown of the strait.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll see.
And I mean, and the fact that I don't think there might be a reaction in oil prices because of the escalation, but I mean, Iran, they account for. I mean, they used to be a bigger player, but today they account for like 4% of the global oil supply. So they don't have the influence that can really cause a risk. It's more about the United States getting dragged into something and us spending a bunch of money to have troops on the ground and all that, and nobody wants that. I don't think the Trump presidency wants. I don't think the administration wants that either.
Yeah, no, it's just like if they control the straits, and then you're just saying that they don't have the power to actually block it. And that's around what 15% or like 25% of the world's oil goes through there. Yeah, I guess we'll see. They're probably going to try to block it in some sense. So I guess we'll see.
They might, but I don't think I think
they already are, or at least they said
they already are.
I'm pretty sure they said they are at 8 p.m. today, or 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm gonna check.
All the news reports right now, they're just saying they might do it, but they're not. I mean, if you look at Iran's Navy, I mean, they don't have one. It's all just like those speedboats and stuff. They don't have anything. So look, I mean, they might be able to cause a disruption. I'm not a global expert on this stuff, but hopefully it doesn't happen. But if it does, I think it'll be
I mean, they could use other weapons or missiles, or they could put bombs in the water. I mean, they could do other things that can at least like cause panic and chaos that would make people who are like obviously working the ships not be able to reach their location, or at least cause a lot of fear globally. So they can definitely, I mean, if they set up for this, if they plan for this, I assume they have some type of counter response. They never don't respond in some way. They have to do something at least for the propaganda, right? So they're gonna do something. I can't imagine them doing nothing. All right, man. I appreciate the call though. I want to give you the last word.
I think last thing I'll say is I think we all disagree on things. I think we get a lot of different information from different sources, so it gets confusing to actually make a position when who really knows what the actual data is out there. But at the end of the day, I think we're all kind of rooting for the same thing, and so as much as you can dislike Trump or hate the president, I think it's in all of our best interest that he is successful. And so crossing our fingers doesn't escalate, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Do you have any issues that it's a illegal war?
Well, I don't think it was necessarily a war. I mean, you can say the strikes weren't legal, but I mean, you can look at the Obama administration. I mean, he did plenty of strikes on Syria without congressional approval. So it's not a Trump thing. This has been something that's been done numerous times. Not to say that it's right, but I mean, it's not a Trump thing.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, that's a big issue with presidential power in general. Presidents have too much foreign policy power, which is why the Trump admin tries to do everything through the lens of foreign policy, including deportations with El Salvador. Then it becomes a legal gray area if they say it's foreign policy and the executive has more jurisdiction over it. So yeah, it's complicated with that. Congress needs to take power back. They did pass war power resolutions, though, which is what makes it. I don't know if they did it for Syria. I'd have to see if they actually passed anything. Or they didn't pass it. They introduced war power resolutions in the House and Senate. All right. I think that's good. Yeah, thanks for the call again. Have a good night, man.
I too. Thanks.
Who introduced it? Tim Kaine, Bernie Sanders, Thomas Massey, Ro Khanna. Enlist today if you care about America. No. I'm not the one that wants them to go to war. I'm anti-war, dude. Oh no, the Democrats have all their strongly worded letters coming out, bro. Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. What do I want to do now? I'm kind of tired. Sri, thank you for $5, Sri. On Venmo, thank you. Is that right now? Sri just did that. Sri knew I was going to look. How did Sri know? How did Sri know I was going to look, dude? How is that possible? Oh, man. Okay. I love when Daddy Trump tells me war is awesome. True. What is the real reason why Iran cannot have a nuke? Well, you don't want, like, look at what Russia's doing right now with Ukraine. You don't want countries that have no regard for national or international law and no regard for peace or freedom. You don't want those countries to have nukes because they can strong arm people and control entire regions by saying, I will nuke you if you don't listen. And you also do not want a nation, you do not want a religious fundamentalist nation at all, and that can include America or Israel, by the way, but a religious fundamentalist country that acts off of their faith having nukes because they might do crazy things that are against logic if they follow their fundamentalism. On the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. Trump won a Nobel Peace Prize, dude. He should. He saved the entire world already, multiple times. It's just kind of how it is. Okay, let me think what I want to do. I might do my halftime here and make a new stream, like I do every night. Iran does not do anything in good faith. You know nothing. I mean, they negotiated deals. When you talk about good faith, sometimes it's in their best interest to act in good faith. You're not going to say they're going to act in good faith in general. A bad faith person can act in good faith in the right circumstances. You just don't understand the nuances of the world. Like sometimes sometimes bad people need to be in good faith because it benefits them. No one's calling. I'm gonna make a new stream. You guys gotta join me. I'm gonna restart my stream. I do new YouTube Shorts streams every now and then. Go to the new stream if you want to hear the conversation. Someone's calling. Go to the new stream. There's a new stream on my channel. I'm ending this stream. Go to the new one. Okay, refresh it and go to the other one. Go to the other one now. Go. I'll see you there. I will see you there.